Crypto is full of noise, and I built this channel to create clarity for each and every crypto, DeFi, and social fi investor out there. Look, I'm Kevin, an educator, an investor, and a dad. And this is Dad's DeFi Space, where I break down the strategies as I run them. There's a free course, tools, and the free Telegram are all in the description below. Let's get to today's video. Before we begin, remember, none of this is financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own research and never invest more than you can afford to lose. And hit that like and subscribe button and get this video out to as many people as possible. We're all about educating the masses. Now, most DeFi videos start with numbers. APR, total value lock, upside, but I actually want to start with systems. I want to start with how the system actually works because if you don't truly understand the mechanics of a DeFi protocol, the numbers truly don't matter at all. So today we're going to break down Kimino Finance, one of the most important DeFi lending protocols on the Solana blockchain that so many people use. And without fully understanding what it's doing under the hood, you risk your capital. This isn't a pitch. This isn't about a prediction. It's just a walkthrough on how Camino works, what problems it solves, where the risk live, and how I think about this as a DeFi tool. Now, at a high level, Camino Finance is just trying to solve one simple problem. Look, DeFi has powerful tools, but they're all fragmented, complex, and can be easy to misuse. Camino actually pools many of these tools onto a single system. So let's talk about what Camino is. Camino is a DeFi protocol on Solana that combines lending, leverage, and liquidity together. It's wanting to wrap complex strategies into automated vaults. And it's also built to be capital efficient, not flashy like meme coins. I try to think of Camino Finance as less as a signal product and more as a financial layer on top of Solana, one that lets users deploy our capital in many different ways, depending on our own risk tolerance. Now, Camino has a simple thesis. They want to reduce friction, automated complexity of the DeFi markets, and improve capital efficiency on the Solana blockchain. So, Camino doesn't invent new yield. It's packaging all kinds of existing yield paths into systems that can be much easier to manage, harder to mismanage accidentally. And this matters more than most people realize. Now, right now, we're taking a look at Camino on DeFiLlama. DeFiLlama being an excellent protocol to do DeFi research of different protocols, tokens, stable coins, you name it. Kimino Finance is sitting right now with approximately $2.63 billion locked in the protocol. The fees annualized are 58.6 million. The revenue is 9.57 million, and the market cap right now is sitting around 212 million. As you can see on the daily chart, it pretty much has been an uptrend since the beginning of its time. Although there's been a huge dip since the end of October. This may have been our market cycle top. We don't know yet. It's just hard to say. Now, the first thing I wanted to look at in Camino Finance that we can use as DeFi investors are the automated liquidity vaults. You are looking at the automated liquidity vaults right now on Kimino Finance. Now, some of the stable coin automated vaults, such as USDS, USDC, Cash USDC, which Cash is the Phantom Wallet stablecoin. I haven't done enough research on it to really talk about it that much at this point. And a lot of hybrid stablecoins. Now, you can see that the 7-day APY on the USDS USDC pair is earning around 7% on Radium. If you take a look at the 7-day fees, you do see some non-stable positions that are actually earning quite a bit of liquidity, or excuse me, quite a bit of liquidity rewards, such as this meme coin Popcat Soul, super risky, Render Soul, 60%, and so much more if you look at the different pairs within the protocol, like Pith Soul, Kimino Soul, and then the rest are stable pairs. Now, the highest I'm seeing on a stable pair is Cash USDC at 8%, although a huge part of that is incentive APY. Be aware because incentives can change on a dime. But Crystal's automated vaults create a space for people who want liquidity exposure without having to babysit ranges all day that we teach over at our webpage at DADSDEFISPACE.org or go find us on Web3 at paragraph DADSDEFISPACE. But look, you're still going to have risks whether you're farming manually or automated farming. It's just a different kind of risk. So please be aware. Next, we're going to take a look at their multiply vault. Now, the Kimino multiply vault, the Kimino multiply vault uses high leverage to amplify yield, higher returns, but also higher downside. This requires discipline and sizing. I would never put all my eggs in one basket. Now, I've been in some of these in the past, like the prime market, which is cash, is earning a net APY of 23.2%, which is awesome on stablecoin yield. In fact, you can see that we used to be in a 4.75x position of Syrup USDC, PayPal USD, which was one that I was actually farming quite a bit. I never like to get my loan to value ratio above about 90%, maybe 95 if I feel really comfortable with the stable coins. You never know if something's going to depeg and you could be liquidated. This one was sitting at 86% right before I withdraw the position, earning a net APY of 12.98%. And with a 4.75x multiplier, that's a pretty nice APY. Now, do understand that this is not passive income. This is leverage and it's wrapped in a UI. Kimino never hides that, and I respect that. In fact, Kimino has excellent risk metrics and portfolio tracking tools within the protocol itself. Now, let's take a look. And we're going to take a look at Kimino Earn. Now, created Kimino Earn are ways you can generate yield on your assets by depositing into one of their vaults. You can find vault profiles with the different strategies. They are summaries, but if you reach out to them, you can usually get contacted back. Some are more conservative than others, some are more risky than others. You can go into the vault profile or the vault itself, and it will talk about the strategy right here. Now, do understand that if you're in the United States, you will be blocked. So, got to be careful. We all know what we can use to help with this. But some of these stable vaults are earning anywhere from 7 to 9%. Some of the Solana vaults are earning up to 14%, as you can see with Allen's and MEV Capital. You have the Steakhouse USDG high yield vault at 5%. I at one point was earning almost 30% on this vault. That was quite a while ago, but you never know. You can always check Kimino and they're moving their incentives around. That does change. Also, do understand that almost all of these yields are variable and they do change over time. So you do have to keep an eye on that. Also, Kimino Finance has a leverage option where you can leverage up your position and trade, similar to trade in perps. And if you become an advanced or VIP user, they are having do it yourself vault creators where you can create your own vaults and strategies. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is actually the Kimino token. This was my last airdrop I claimed a while back. They run seasons and you can earn rewards. And then sometimes, even when you're farming their stable positions, they may be paying out in Kimino. Now, KMNO or Kimino is the governance and incentive layer to Kimino Finance, not just a magic meme token. Now, this token is actually used for government votes, incentives, and rewards. And if you stake it, you get yield boost. So I do stake most of my Camino. That way I can earn higher yield when I decide to lend on their protocol. So it's an important point to note. Holding Camino does not remove risk. It is an altcoin. It will bleed back to Bitcoin. It does, though, align with protocol decision and allows you to have a voice within the protocol. Now, understand that this is a trade off. Now, I also know people who earn the Camino and just sell it off for stables. That is your option because it is your assets. Now, one of the things that we used the most on Camino was actually their borrow accounts. Now, you can loan all kinds of Solana assets from stable coins in the prime market. They have a main market with Solana stables, Coinbase backed Bitcoin, um, Ethereum, and so much more. They even have some LSTs you can loan down here. Now, they also have a Maple market, an Athena market, a Jupiter market, a Pump.Fun market, which is crazy, and an Apollo market. Now, I have actually used their, let me find it. Now, they used to have the meme coins separated, but it looks like most of those are now mixed in. I see a Bonk market, a Fart coin market, and some other small cap altcoins. But before we go any farther, we need to talk about DeFi risk. What one thing I love about Camino is you can go into their risk hub right here. Now, I don't have any positions really right now on Camino Finance, but if I did, you can go through the lens summary. It'll tell you how much value is been deposited, withdrawn from the protocol, the number of loans, altcoin market data, and everything you could possibly imagine. You can also look at different risk metrics, loan analysis, and how close different markets are to liquidation. You can even do this within the multiply, their looping strategies, and check out how everything is doing. And the beauty of it is if you look at their security audits, they have been audited 18 times by independent firms, 3 formal verification processes, extensive testing, and no major exploits to date. They have not been hacked. But here's the honest frame. Audits don't necessarily reduce your risk. They do not eliminate it. Maybe you get a little bit of reduction. Just be aware. Now, smart contract risk also still exists within Camino Finance. Market risk still exists anytime we're investing. And leverage magnifies both of these. So, look, Camino does a great job at making the risk visible, but it does not make the risk disappear. So, where does Solana, excuse me, where does Camino Finance exist within the Solana blockchain? Because it has quietly become one of the core financial layers on the Solana network. Large total value lock relative to the size of the ecosystem. It's integrated with tons of protocols used by both retail, like me, and institutions out there. And it's expanding even into real world assets. You can find those real world assets actually on there under their RWA loops, which most are actually stablecoins, but they have some other markets available. And I expect this to grow over the next couple of years. So I don't think this is a hype protocol. It's infrastructure, and infrastructure does matter in the long run in the crypto space. So I don't look at Camino Finance as a bet. I look at it as a DeFi tool, and it's a way we can express views on yield, on liquidity, on leverage, on risk. So whether or not you use it should not depend on how well you understand it, not on how high the numbers look on the dashboard. But excuse me. Whether you use it or not should really depend on how well you understand Camino Finance, not how high the numbers look on a dashboard. So, if this helps clarify how Camino Finance works, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're using Camino right now, I'm curious to know how. What vaults, what lending strategies, what DeFi yields are you getting on Camino? And if you want more breakdowns like this, DeFi protocols, DeFi mechanics, and not hype, hit subscribe. Look, everything here is educational, everything is optional. Manage your own risk. So, if this video helped you think clearer, imagine what our free course and our Telegram will do. Look, clarity over hype. Keep building. Links are below. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace